Trust the Force, Luke.
Sometimes truth isn't good enough.
I feel the need for speed.
Ray, when someone asks you if you're a god, you say yes!
Because it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
That's right, boys and girls. It is our time down here. And our time down here is Wednesday nights, FrostCast. This is episode 45 here at Winter Wolfston. And we're going to bring in King Z straight away. Lots of cool stuff to talk about. We're very glad everybody's here. We're going to be checking in with comments and reading folks out. So please drop in, be heard. We're happy to have any kind of conversation on our topics. Or you guys even bring up random questions. If we go off the rails, we go off the rails. We're not opposed to that here. We're keeping the lights on any which way we can.
So much fun about the discussion, not just what we're covering.
Dude, I've said from minute one, or maybe it was like minute 3 or 4, I don't really remember. Dude, our best exchanges happen when we're bouncing random stuff off of people that kind of take what we're talking about and go in a slightly 5-degree like different direction. You know what I mean? When somebody like Pape or Travis shows up and they're like, hey, you guys are talking about Batman and Robin or whatever. What about this thing? I'm like, oh, dude, I never really thought of that. What about that? And then you've got something great to say, and we rewrite somebody's nonsensical Hollywood script, and nobody pays us. It's the worst thing. I really wish that shit would stop.
We're giving out free stuff over here. Free stuff. Dropping knowledge.
Free stuff. People, I think there's a Reddit rumor out there about your 4-picture X-Men four Horsemen of the Apocalypse script idea. It's still out there. Fox, Disney, somebody call the guy. Call him. He knows. But yeah. So I went through the ringer of topic decision for this week, and luckily it got kind of bailed out last second with like a couple of fairly big things. One of them I know I'm particularly interested in, and you got the green screen background rocking it right away. Stranger Things finally coming out with a release date for the final season. It feels like, honest to God, dude, I feel like this has been like 5 years since season 4, and I think it's close. Like, I think it's fairly close to that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if season 5 we're going to follow the same characters or we're going to follow the characters' kids.
It could be their grandkids. So that's why I got my little tag. This is my little tagline there. It's the upside downs of fluff.
I got Stranger AARP.
I see it, dude. I was trying to work AARP into the word stranger, but I ran out of time. I just couldn't do it. I didn't see it until you just pointed out. Nicely done. But there's a meme, and I should have grabbed it. It's somebody used the AI to age up all the main characters so they look all dusky and wrinkly, and it's pretty funny. Mm-hmm. It's like a collage of like the 8 main characters. You're looking off on the side like you have it.
No, I don't have that one. I have a better one. It was sent to me earlier, and it fits perfectly. Oh, yeah? They sent me the picture of the cast of Grown Ups.
Oh, God. Yeah, this is them. Yeah, I saw that one. I saw the meme.
Travis!
And I just
hey, we've missed you, guy.
He shall appear. There he is, dude. Here we go. The memes are on point, though, for these poor kids getting older. I'm like, for the love of God, and some people have cherry-picked it. I want to be fair. I've seen a lot of comparisons, and they were all, I think, they were authentic, and I think they came from a place of just lightheartedness, but they were showing the kids from season 1 versus the AI upscaled how old they are now, and that's kind of funny. But then they showed the side-by-side of what they actually look like now, and I'm like, that is still kind of an eye-opener, because when you take 11 from season 4 and put her next to what she looks like now, it's like she's fully all the way grown up. Like, she's a married woman, fully all the way grown up, heading into like her mid-20s. Looks like she's not quite aging the Hollywood lifestyle, might be doing some things, I don't know. But these kids are wildly grown now and not who they started with. Like, they're not the cute 8th graders that they were in season 1 100 years ago. It feels like it's forever.
Yeah, this show caught a bad curveball, too, because they were trying to work it in. Like, there was a huge break between season 3 and season 4 to begin with. And then they're trying to make season 5 before they aged out of the role. And then you had the writer's strike. And then you had the actor's strike. And then it was just... Yeah. That was the big gap between 3 and 4 was the pandemic. It's just like this show can't catch a break to stay on target. It's one of this type of the show that you kind of need to do what Peter Jackson did with Lord of the Rings. He's like, we're locking you all in, and we're going to this island, and we're going to shoot everything now.
Hey, Pape, what's up, buddy? Dude, I think you're 100% right, because I saw yet another. I gotta get off Facebook, dude. I saw Lucas's sister. You remember Lucas's sister? She came in season 3. She had a bigger role in season 4, kind of the sassy little sister.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that girl's 18, just graduated high school. And she's supposed to be, in real life, she's supposed to be
a freshman,
younger than they are. No, but I mean, in real life, she's that many years younger than they are, for Christ's sake, and she's grown. You know. It's like, how old are Hopper and Winona Ryder on the show? Like, legit, are they like 75? Are they on Aricept? Is anybody doing dementia screening? Like, I don't get it. Travis says, unpopular, but I think season 3 is the best and season 4 is the weakest. Dude, I could flip either way on that, honestly. I really could. I think everybody agrees 2 is kind of the weak link in the franchise.
Yeah.
But I got some strong feelings on 3 and 4.
I think 3 fit in perfect. 3 was season 2 that we were supposed to get. Yeah. And I think season 2 itself was all right, except for the side quest. The side quest threw the whole thing off.
Now, see, I'm glad you brought that up, because I wanted to get your take on the side quest episode. I wonder if they had initially had a vision of the show that included a bunch of other numbers from, what was it called, the Rainbow Room?
Yeah.
No,
not Rainbow Room.
It wasn't the Rainbow Room. What the hell was the room? The nursery that all the special kids. It's Rainbow Rooms. I think it's like New York, like the club from like the 70s or some shit. That's what it sounds like. Yeah. It's whatever it was. It was that. It was where they were hanging out, where she met Indian 11. I'm just going to call her Indian 11. I don't remember the character's name or number. I think maybe she was 8. I don't know. Right?
I think it was 8. It was 8 or 7.
I think it was 7, because I think it was episode 8 that was the crap side quest episode she was in. But I wonder if they had a vision for the show that had a bunch of those girls or those boys, as we see in season 4. You know, there were boys and girls that had the abilities. But I wonder if the reaction to that character and 11 not being unique was so poorly received that the Duffer Brothers are just like, nah, dog, we're good. We're never mentioning this character again. Like, I think when we get to season 5, we don't see Indian 11 again. I don't think there's going to be an Avengers moment where she comes back with her crew to Hawkins for whatever reason to help these people. I think that's done.
Yeah. It is the Rainbow Room.
Dude, because the wolf knows his strange things.
But look at Pape. She put it up. Put it back. Pace back up. Unpopular, but I didn't make it through season 1. Season 1 was like a banger. Like it came out at the right time. It had that 80 nostalgia. I think that's what really hammered season 1 for a lot of people. Yeah, that 80 nostalgia right there.
Yeah, I mean that might actually be worth getting, like, you know, sticking electrodes into Pape's brain and trying to figure this out, like, scientifically. Like, I get, you know, things are art's subjective, media is subjective. People like things, they don't like things. Somebody out there likes Birds of Prey. Somebody out there likes Birds of Prey. Somebody out there thinks Game of Thrones ended on a good note, on a high quality note. Somebody out there, not us.
I like the overall beat of it. I don't like how they executed it.
The execution was terrible. Travis says season 2 was decent, but I imagine Harbor seeing a storyline that says these pumpkins smell like shit. Find out why. It's true. It's true. I think he actually says that to one of the deputies when they start investigating the patch. That's possible. I think he's gotten that character's kind of been taken through the ringer, in my opinion. I don't like when they made him into like fat dad bod Magnum PI around season 3.
But they did fix him up in season 4 when he was Gulag.
They did. You know, they gave him the Thor treatment from Endgame. You know, they fatted him up for Endgame, but then when we get Love and Thunder for the crap movie that it was, at least they got Chris Hemsworth out of the fat suit. Yeah, you know what I mean. At least he got back in shape.
I can understand watching the show after all the hype and then not living up, because maybe your expectations got a little bit too high and it didn't meet those expectations. But I mean, for me, we watched it. I forgot. Like, we watched all 12 episodes in a matter of like 3 days.
Yep. I binged the hell out of that.
Because it was the Netflix style drop, which we've talked about to nauseum on this show. Terrible idea. So we tend to watch them all at the time. And like, the D&D and then the riding their bikes everywhere, just like a simpler time it took you back to.
Dude, no cell phones, love it. Riding the bikes, love it. The D&D, love that stuff. The nerd dynamic of being in junior high. The Duffer Brothers were those kids, 100%. They're not posing.
Yeah.
But one of the beats that solidified Stranger Things for me as being like that kind of quality show is that they got a bunch of kid actors who are all very talented. Don't get me wrong. They're all exceptionally talented. But along the way of being talented, I feel like sometimes child actors lose touch with what it is to act their age. These kids spoke in a way that reminded me of being in the 8th grade. Everything's a crisis. We have to go now. We have to do like, dude, that's just the tone you take when it's go time and you're that age. Everything's a crisis that needs resolving. The grown-ups don't fucking believe you. It's just it is what it is. And I thought, and once I got that tone from Mike and Lucas in particular, I was like, okay, I know these guys. The coolest thing in the world would be you stumble across some weird kid coming out of the woods and like she needs help and now there's a mystery. Oh crap! And now your best friend's kidnapped. Holy crap! Like, that was wild. Give Travis a read for me, King. I gotta get a drink.
Season 4 didn't work for me because Hopper isn't there to balance out the kids' characters, so the stupidity of them became nauseating, and the most annoying one are shoving in the pizza van. Yeah.
Okay. Now that you mention, I think I might have wolf blocked that entire part of season 4 because you're right. Everything that happened at the pizza shop with the stoner kids was a waste. The side quest to Susie's house to see her weirdo family, waste of time. Didn't need that. I only needed bits and pieces of her, and I think it still would have worked when they have their little sing along at the end of those. That was kind of endearing. I did like that. I love the never-ending story. Shamelessly, I love that.
That was season 3 that had that part. 3? That was 3.
Oh, that's right, because that's right. Then they moved past that and they gave her all the screen time.
Yeah, that's how Hopper got captured and went to the gulag.
That's right. Because the Splody and the portal and we were just talking about that today. Yeah, then no, I didn't need any of that. And so Travis is right. Season 4 in those sections did not work for me like at all in that part. But I think a lot of the other kid beats stuff still worked because they were starting to grow up. We get the identity issues with Will got put right out on Front Street where like Mike's like, do you even like girls? And he's just like starting to cry. I'm like, holy crap, dude, they went there. Hey, J.O. Wait, so you guys didn't watch the first season when it dropped? You had to wait every fucking Sunday for a new episode. That was torture. What a season. I caught it a couple of years late, believe it or not. And then people I worked with demanded, because they knew I write on the side. They were like, you need to check this out for nostalgia and just to get that feel. Is this really some Spielberg type of stuff?
I think I
can't
caught
confirm.
I think it was after the first 2 weeks of Facebook posts that I finally got into it.
You got on board. I see you're early adopter.
Yeah, I was early on it. Yeah.
Yep. Sure. I wish, dude. I wish, because I loved every effing minute of that, dude. I can still. It was season 1 was so effective for me as a new show, as a new story, that if I watch the Quarry episode when they pull Will's not body out of there, I still get a little. It's still with the music hits, I get a little choke still. Like it still works. Like the tension is so effective built through 4 episodes that it still absolutely slaps. You can give Travis a read again. Go ahead.
All right, season 3 gave us a Let's See and Murray, which those are both fun characters as major characters. Angry Hopper, Never-Ending Story, and Mike Scene and Corey Hart. That's what makes it. The Never-Ending Story part was just, that whole scene was just priceless, especially with Hopper just banging his head against the wall while it's going on.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that part up, because I feel like we should get Marvel in on a reply all email, or maybe you send them an invite to the show and be like, that's how you balance tension with levity. You build up the tension, you let the kids have their moment, and then when the fun's along the way and they're doing the sing along, you have the straight man who's getting shot at by Russian soldiers and up against the clock. You have him bang his head against the wall. You have other people listening over the radio roll their eyes and be like, the hell are these kids doing?
Yeah.
And then you sing along if you have a soul. You just do. You have to. It's that fun because they work you.
Yeah, I thought the other kids were going to join in just because that was the movie of the time too.
Nope, I knew it had to be what you call them, Dusty Buns. It had to be Dusty Buns and Susie. It was only ever going to go down that way. And I thought that was perfect for it. That was a great beat for the season, for sure.
Yeah. I liked how they used his like real life disability in there, and like it helped explain his character with not having collarbones.
Yep, and that's early on. That was a nice little piece of character work there. I like that they constantly develop the relationship between 11 and Hopper, especially after he takes her in as like the adopted daughter. It's tough when she gets to the teenage bitchy phase, through seasons 3 and 4. It's always harder to watch because I really did like how they kind of had their separation in season 2. But when push came to shove, the entire finale of that show is Hopper on a cargo elevator with an assault rifle shooting Demogorgons while she's closing the rift. Like, that was badass.
Yeah.
And I've said it before. My brother's a big fan. We have a quote on the show where we say, we want to see superheroes doing superhero shit. Subdivision of that comment: if somebody with psychic powers goes from the one hand force move, brings up the second hand, it means your ass. Like, it's over. You lose. You get double bloody nose at that point. I love that shit. That was a great end scene to the weak season. But one of the other things, I think Travis said it there, the annoying kids in the pizza van. I feel like this cast of characters is getting really crowded. We haven't even mentioned Steve, the babysitter, who's probably a breakout, massive success of a character on the show. We haven't talked about Eddie, who everybody loved from season 4. But there's a lot of other people hanging around this show. And I don't want them to go over like Robin from the ice cream shop or Lucas's sister. Like, I'm over these people already.
Yeah, I think out of the main cast, one of the main cast that's falling off is Will as well. Like, they don't know what to do with Will now.
You speculate, though. You figure if this is the end of the show, they have to tie some, and it looks like from the trailer anyway, I don't know if you watched the trailer, that they might be tying him back to the shadow monster thing to maybe bookend kind of how he was the one that got kidnapped, he was the one that got possessed. Maybe he and 11 have a unique arc this season to kind of loop things off. But, my big question for Stranger Things for you going in, and guys, you sing along in the chat as well, who dies? Because some people, not everybody's getting out of this show. It's an 80s style show. I'm guessing not everybody gets the happy ending here.
I'm sadly going to have to say 11, just because
you think she's out.
I think she's going to be down, and I think Mike's going to go with her. It's going to be like them two together, and he gives her the strength to finish it off.
I could see that. I think leave that comment up there for a quick minute for me. I think the obvious pick, and that's why I'm not going to go with it, is a Hopper.
Yeah,
because he lost the one daughter, and now he'll die to save 11. I think they'll subvert that, and that's a good use of subvert because I'm ready for him to make the hero play. You know what I mean? So that'd be a good subversion there. I've been convinced fairly early on, since finishing season 4, that Max isn't going to make it. She's already whooped up on in the bed. I feel like that whole exchange might have broken her mentally. And if she gets back in the action, I think something bad happens to her. I don't know why. I just suspect it.
I think she's going to go the way of her brother.
Like Psycho, but then redemption?
Her real self is in the upside down, where Vecna uses her as a vessel in the material world.
I could see that. They'd be slapping. Travis says, going back to season 1, I forgot how much I like Jonathan. He's one of the strongest parts, but he gets terminally, him and Nancy get terminally worse every season. Yeah. Exception, Nancy, when she dances with Dustin at the snowball dance. That was a great little mini arc within the.
That was a big power move that really helped him out.
Yeah. Especially considering when we first meet them both, he's trying to bring her pizza upstairs in season 1, and she closes the door in his face.
Yeah,
and he's going outside being like, your sister needs a tractor to pull the stick out of her ass. What happened to her? Pretty funny. And then so for them to come around as they both grow was a nice little bit. And then Travis says, I think Will's going to die. The show starts with him. We were just talking about that. And it would be wise to give him a major role in the end. Also agree, especially subverting it so 11 lives. Interesting take there. That I think maybe they're the ones that go out, and then it's just the whole left behind because they're gone. You get Hopper suffering because he loses the daughter. You get Will's mother and brother suffering because they lost the kid again. Like the kid can't catch a break. What do you think of those angles, King?
I did see Will taking the place of 11 as the sacrificial lamb, and then her getting pulled out, because she kind of became their new sister. So he makes the big brother move like his brother would do for him, like how his brother was towards him growing up with just the two of them.
I could definitely see that. I think that I'm excited to see how they wrap up the Vecna stuff. One of the stronger parts of season 4, in my opinion, was all the world building that went on with the Matthew Modine character, having had the entire, I'm just going to call it the school. I'm going to call it Modine's school for, gifted mutants or whatever. That all worked for me, especially the massacre part. I thought that was savage. Like that worked. You're like, oh damn, these kids aren't playing with the full deck. All the Black Widow imagery, with young pre-Vecna, all that was super creepy. I'm down for it to. Well done, Derby. Well done. We're only 20 minutes in. I'm down to revisit all that. What I don't want are new people introduced. That's my concern. I was just saying this to my stepdaughter the other day. If we're wrapping things up, how many new A-level NPCs can this show take? We already got all the parents. They were more involved in season 4. We already got all these side characters. Kill a bunch of them. Do something.
One major character that you care about, Bob, Letzi, Eddie. Yep, the Eddie death. That was a good one. It would be nice to get one of them back to life for the season. Eddie would make sense. You also forgot what's her name in season 1? Barb. There we go. Yeah, Barb gets no justice.
Justice for Barb. That was a thing. Dude, people were pissed about that for the longest time. I'm like, yikes, because then I think I think the Duffer Brothers honestly forgot that they killed her in season 1. Because there's parts of season 2, I think, where they go into the Upside Down by the pool where she died. So her body should ostensibly be just off camera. And
they showed it to it. They showed her. Yeah, they showed her in one of the times they went in the Upside Down.
Dude, that's a Justice for Barb situation. These people might have been right.
And Billy, Billy in season 3.
Billy though, bit of a psycho.
But he did make the save for his sister at the end.
He did.
The redemption moment.
He had the Vader moment. He did. But he was violently savage to like everybody on the show. So I'm good that, he was made to
suffer. The him and Steve fight in season 2.
And he is. And Steve, see, I like Steve, but every time he raises hands, he's like 0 for 3.
Yeah, he is.
His friends kicked his ass. Billy kicked his ass. The Demogorgon kicked his ass. I mean, I admire him. Like, he's not afraid to go back at it.
It's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how fast you get back up.
Keep moving forward. That's how winning's done. And that's my only Stallone impression I'm doing tonight. But yeah, so Billy I like that Billy tried to put the moves on Mike's mom. Good choice. If you're gonna put the moves on one of the parents, that's the one. Because his dad's probably just gonna sit there and watch. Like if you're into that kind of thing, that's the one you go with. But he was just such a putz. Rough on the star, but we saw his dad was rough on him, so it's a cycle of violence and all that good. I love that he's smoking while he's on the bench. That was kind of funny when we met him. He's working out while smoking. Yeah, drinking a Colt 45. That's classy.
Yeah. Well, the '80s, it's different.
Frank Stallone. Yep. I can't do the real one. It just makes me sound like I have MR. Makes me sound like Ballerina. No, I can't do a Bella joke. I feel bad already. Yeah, I'll do fact. And see, and Travis, that's what I mean. Like, it heavily implied Billy was racist toward Lucas, really hated him. I like how his redemption wasn't on him being a good person, just doing the right thing. And I think that's what King Z was kind of driving at. He had a redemption moment. It wasn't really an arc or anything like that.
No, it was a moment.
I was thinking, kill my sister. At best, like, that was the intention there. Is he's going to kill Max, and she is my sister. But yeah, no, and see, we were just talking about racism-related themes last week on the show. We were talking about Black Snape for the Harry Potter show and how in the regular text of the Potter, we already had racism-coded stuff with mudblood, stuff like that. So it was done like with a semi-light touch for kids. I thought that in Stranger Things, he didn't outright need to drop an N-bomb on Lucas to make the point. Like, they exercised some restraint, and we automatically knew Billy was white trash scum. For just him being aggressive the way he was, and then singling out Lucas. And that's one that if it was Will hitting on her, probably not. Maybe that's what I don't know.
One of the great things the brothers did on this one was that they hit all the stereotypes of 80s kids in school. Really did. They hit the stereotypes quite well.
Yeah, no, they definitely did it right down to the D&D, the ham radio, to all these nerds. Like we dressed up. Why were the only people dressed up for Halloween this year? That was great.
Yeah.
You know, when they went back for that song, that was good stuff. But I think they did hit those beats, and I think that even when the show's at its cheesiest, I think they still mostly hit all those beats in stride, and that's why you never, even in a bad season, I was never really bored with it. I was just more disappointed with the story decisions that they made, but I was never bored. I was never disgruntled that I watched. You know what I mean? It never hit that for me.
Yeah.
But season 5, though, man, we talked everything else about Stranger Things. May as well talk about season 5. So if the band's all back together in Hawkins, and this is the last ride, it's 100% the last ride. Like, this is it, right? We got to close up multiple, I'm just going to call them hell gates, because that's kind of, they imply that like Hawkins has been hit with the supernatural disaster, even as we see season 4 wrap up. It's everybody looking off at the town, and there's smoke rising in a bunch of places. So there's some weirdness going on. Travis says, Max having a storyline in Nightmare World meeting Eddie's ghost as well as other dead characters like Dream Warriors would be fun. Dream Warriors would be dope. And then she dies, so Eddie can return to, see, I don't need that, because they do kind of hate each other still, though, right? Like, yeah, no, I guess not. The letter probably resolved that.
No. Eddie's the...
No, not Billy. Eddie.
Yeah, Eddie, not Billy. Yep.
You're in Billy in my head. My bad. Nice catch. I think that character tested really well, because people were destroyed. You know, when he I didn't run away this time, Dustin. I didn't run away. Like, dude, I'm right there with you. Like, oh. That was fucking rough. Like, well done. I don't know about that dude playing Johnny Storm though next month.
We'll see that. We'll see it.
I don't know. But in this, he was great as the black sheep screw up ne'er-do-well, sold drugs to the cheerleader, and then she died, so everybody thought I killed her. And then you get that bookended too at the end of the season when the town's kind of recovering and doing disaster relief, and like Dustin talks to Eddie's uncle. Yeah. And the uncle gets choked up because he lost his nephew, and Dustin gets choked up telling him he didn't run away, he saved people. Well, that's for a character who's only around one season, pretty solid.
Yeah, because it ended with like the big split that kind of just like it fell into like a sinkhole, right? Like Hawkins fell into a sinkhole.
Parts of it. So like the National Guard was being deployed. I think they had a scene at the end where like the FBI was like blocking off the road in, and then it ends with the different clusters of the Friends up on like the hillside overlooking the panoramic of the town.
Yeah,
so like some of it might have been in a sinkhole, but there was definitely trouble in Hawkins. Like town-wide.
Yeah, I do believe this is the last one, and I think the way they did this weird release, if you see it, that it's dropping in November, but November not all of it. Mm-hmm. And then on Christmas, it drops a little bit more, and then on New Year's. This way they can get 3 months of subscription from you because they know you want to finish it.
Is it is it New Year's Day, January 1st, or is it New Year's Eve, December 31st? There's a difference there.
Yeah,
so
but if you
3 months, getting 3.
But they're counting on if it is the 31st that you're going to be out partying too much for the 31st to watch all the episodes, so you're going to need that extra month, depending on when your subscription renews.
Oh, here's the joke on you, Netflix, then. I'm going to cancel you today and then just wait until January 2nd and then pay a month and watch the whole damn thing. FAFO, you know what I mean? You fuck around and find out when you play with my economics. But now I'm watching that whole thing because I'm ready. I'm ready for Stranger Things to go out with like the most epic level bang. I think that if the Duffer Brothers know this is the end, they'll do what they have to. They'll do what they must, as Obi-Wan said. I'm curious what becomes of Enzo, Hopper's Russian friend. They were planning to kill him, but decided not to. I'd be interested at least to spend a little bit of time on any of the Russian stuff that happened. Like that could be cool. And going off Marvel, it'd be fun if Sadie Sink was playing Firestar in Spider-Man 4, like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Isn't she rumored to be playing
Peter Parker's daughter from Tobey Maguire's universe?
Maguire Park, right? And what's her name? Mayday or something weird. Yeah.
May Parker.
Yeah, I think I like Travis's idea a little bit better. Like give her a character that could have some.
I remember Spider-Man's Amazing Friends. That was one of my favorite cartoons with Iceman, Firestorm, and Spider-Man.
Yep.
Mayday Parker.
Let's see what they do. I don't know. She's earned a spot anyway. I mean, she is a talented addition to the cast. I wasn't too big on the Max character when they wrote her in because I really did just like the core group, and I felt like that the ensemble they started with, including Hopper and Winona Ryder and Nancy and Jonathan. Like, they already had 10 people.
But
like, they didn't need to add a bunch of new people, and they did, and most of them were successful.
Yeah, you actually kind of did, because as you got older, we all had our childhood relationships, so you had to add in those type of love interests and stuff like that in there.
But they only really ever added Max for Lucas. They added Susie in a drip feed a later season. They haven't done anything with Will. It's not like Jonathan and Nancy stopped seeing each other. You know what I mean?
Well, Will's in love with Michael.
Clearly, as of the end of the last season. I don't think they pulled the trigger on that, though, and I'm not sure that they'd necessarily have the stones to give him his own love, a unique love interest in season 5. Like, I think it's too late for all that now. It would not make sense. Like, you're not going to.
That would make sense why he sacrifices himself for 11, so Michael could be happy.
Right. That all makes sense as determined. Travis also says, my friend and I were talking. If they did the time travel thing, that prevents the show from happening like Twin Peaks. There's hints to time travel. So, I mean, there are, and it's a timey-wimey situation. It's the upside down. I could see
Does
that.
time go backwards if you're upside down?
I don't want to see that, to be clear. Like, I mean, Twin Peaks was able to pull that off experimentally, like in, what was that, like 1990? And that's a weird-ass show, man. I've
never watched any of it.
Dude, I watched the first season of that shit last January. Right?
Yeah.
Start to finish. And I sat there and I literally scratched my head every hour that I watched that show, because people kept telling me, this is prototype X-Files. This is what got X-Files its start. And I'm like, this is like watching like the most circus-ass goofy show I've ever seen about a murder mystery and like a cocaine-fueled like writer's room where literally they just threw every weirdo sci-fi idea against the wall and just saw what stuck. Like, I don't get it. X-Files is the superior show. I mean, maybe if they meant because it's not a soap opera and it proved that you could do weird sci-fi on TV, that tracks. But like quality-wise, I don't get it. And that show won awards, dude.
Yeah,
like, that show won awards. I don't get it.
It was a talk for a while. I remember a kid hearing people talk about it, seeing it on what's that called? TV Guide. Seeing it on TV Guide and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So
dude, it was appointment TV. It was appointment TV, 100%. It's not. It wasn't a fluke niche thing. Travis says there would be something emotional about 11 killing Vecna during season 1, and we just see all 4 of the kids make it home that night. Won't happen to be interesting. You mean in a time travel situation, or am I misunderstanding? There would be something emotional about 11 killing Vecna during season 1, and we just see all the kids make it home that
so
night.
like the time, it would have to be time travel. She goes back and she completely kills him. So none of that actually happens, because she created the upside down when she attacked the guy and made him Vecna pretty much.
Got some grandfather paradox built into that then.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I could, you know what? If it was that and only that, and it avoids doing the whole, we have to timeline jump like Endgame. Like, I don't want to get too far into the time travel stuff. And like, I like it in short controlled bursts, like in my Terminator.
I think it would be better time travel if they did it like Days of Future Past. X-Men Days of Future Past, where they can send them mentally back in time, not physically.
Yeah, I could see that. That could work. And they already do weird stuff with 11 in the deprivation tank and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And she'll have whatever psychic power she needs at any given minute in the finale. And I'm calling the whole season the finale.
Yeah, and they're still working to get her powers back to.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, because when she got bit by the monster in the mall, it kind of messed with her powers and messed with her confidence.
Yep, can't do it. Yeah, that's right. They did.
That was one of the big storylines through season 4. There was her because she went with both doctors.
Right, but and they needed to do that, dude, because I think the show at that point was legitimately on the path of power creep. You know, like we were just talking about. This is my daily my show reference to the Dresden Files. Dresden, by like book 6 or 7. He's doing all kinds of cool shit with a spoiler for you. Sorry, King. Like he takes the Winter Night mantle. At one point, he actually caves and takes it. Right. So he's got his own power. He's got that power. He ends up with one of Nicodemus's coins. He's got that. He's got all kinds of gangster shit going on. And then eventually, Jim Butcher, the author, is gonna have to find a way to depower his ass. because he's literally like he could be unstoppable. Like there's no perception of danger for this character. I think 11 was on that path. Like if the Duffer Brothers can just creep the power, 10% every time she shows up, what's she afraid of at this point? You know what I mean? The Shadow Monster, she could probably one-shot him. Who knows? Did you give Travis a read, dude?
But 11 leaves Hopper a letter, which he thinks is from his dead daughter, which turns in a way, allowing him to move on. I mean, that could hit all right, but then you're kind of downplaying the whole, like, what's driving him now, because that dead daughter is what kind of turned him around into who he is.
Dude, that is some of the best performance in season 1, is the effective use of flashback with clean-shaven, in a little bit better physical shape, Hopper in the hospital with his dying daughter and watching her flatline, intercut with him pounding on Will's chest in the Upside Down. Like, when he says, "Come on, kid," he's like, "No, not one more fucking kid's dying on my watch. It's not happening. No more." That resonates like a mother. That's what I mean. That's how I know season 1 is something special. And season 2, Wanders isn't any good. Season 3 and 4, we can have the discussion like we have. But season 1 is uniquely placed forever as a great show.
Yep.
100%. There's also the world where our world, the right side up, becomes the upside down. So our characters have to make the upside down with the new one. Dude, all right, now you're getting into some Twilight Zone, Black Mirror shit. And I don't know if I can go there with this shit.
No, I think that's way too much.
Yeah, I need the Spielberg experience. I like you spitballing. I like that. You throw these things against the wall. We workshop and we do what we can. But I think that's going a little too far. It would be interesting for like spin-off potential. And this is the only idea I'll throw out there, is if they run into, and I don't think we've seen this, correct me if I'm wrong, if they run into upside down versions of themselves who aren't necessarily evil, they're just not themselves, and one of them gets stuck on the wrong side when the show's over.
I've never seen a shadow person in this.
I didn't think so, other than the weirdo monsters that were populating the Upside Down when Vecna's voice in season 2 was saying, "We built this for you, 11." Like there was that whole segment with the townspeople being possessed and brought into like that one barn or something. This is a long time ago. You know what I mean? So they had I think those were real world that were abducted. They weren't shadow people like you said. Yeah, dude, oh God, it's so weird. So weird. There was a devil, and one of them was an angel, and then the lead FBI guy was like the killer for like a season, like Fire Walk with Me. I don't know, man.
Yeah, never watched it.
I can't do Twin Peaks. It's too weird. The best thing about Twin Peaks, I kid you not, Kingsley, we talked about Stephen King movies like a year ago. You remember how gushy I was over Sleepwalkers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Sleepwalkers, the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the hot daughter from Sleepwalkers is on Twin Peaks. And that's really the only reason I watched it. Mad Chinamick is on Twin Peaks as like a white trash waitress. And I'm like, sold. I will watch this show for at least 2 episodes. So I had to go on like IMDb and just find out which episodes that character was in, and then like fast forward through the crap to get to her. And she wasn't even a great character, but she's really pretty. I said it. If there is an upside down Hawkins, maybe there's an upside down space. That would be terrible. All right, now you're getting all eldritch horror, H.P. Lovecraft on me.
Yeah, you're expanding the whole, not just the world, but the whole universe.
Whatever
I don't think it is.
I'm in the mail.
And for my reasoning of that is because 11 built this. So it's built off a lot of what she knew and where she was around. So it is probably an enclosed space connected to Hawkins and Hawkins alone because she was at that facility. That's the reason why the Upside Down is contained.
But wait, is that how it really happened? Because I thought when she banished human Vecna and he became the mutated thing that we saw, I thought where he was became a reflection of his rage, and that's what created the Upside Down. I didn't think the Upside Down was her doing.
Well, if she never sent him there, it was their powers going together, kind of built that area. So, but that's why it's confined to right there, and not like it's a whole nother world they discovered. They didn't open a portal to another world. They made a shadow world. A pocket dimension.
Yep. Okay. We're about to shut Travis off because I'm starting to trip balls here just reading these. Twin Peaks with Cooper and Laura Palmer accidentally ending up in the real world. I mean, if he could just send then Laura Palmer over to Winter Wolf's Den P.O. Box, that'd be great. because she's the hottest dead chick I've ever seen on TV, and that came out totally wrong. Let's move on.
Yep. That was. You might have to, go in the corner, count to 10, think about what you just said.
It was weird, but she's really pretty. That is what it is. She's been alive in other stuff. I'll say that. We'll just leave it at that before this goes completely off the rails. But I'm stoked, dude. I'm stoked for Stranger Things. I think I'm ready. There's been too many other shows we've watched haven't hit or have only been like middling hits. I've got a good feeling about this one, so I'm ready for November. I'm ready for November 26th. So yeah, that's what we had on Stranger Things. King, we have other topics. I'm good with you running whichever ones you want for the final 20.
Let's pull up the list real quick and see what we got.
I have the handwritten list right here.
Let's go with this one. Let's go with blockbuster movies, and like how the summer movie season has begun. It started with Lilo and Stitch, as well as Mission Impossible, possibly The Final Reckoning. I mean, I think
Final Reckoning asterisk.
Yeah, I think. I think Tom Cruise. Yeah, Tom Cruise, that guy. The short guy.
Short guy that runs fast.
Yeah, I think he's still going to be doing this until he dies. Like, you're going to see him be like
90
till you're 90. Yeah, we're going to see him at 90 jump out of an airplane like H.W. Bush
in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the
box office strong. You were saying box office strong.
He was. I mean, he was the blockbuster king there for a while, especially after he got into the whole I'm going back to action and just made action movies. He got out of trying to be in the drama filled ones like Eyes Wide Shut and all those weird ones. What was the one where he was like the motivational speaker and it started raining frogs? Was it something Vanilla Sky?
Vanilla Sky, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, I think they all do that. They try to flex out and do things that
they all want the Oscar, and they think that's the only way to win one because action movies and movies people actually enjoy never get nominated.
Unless it's for graphics or sound.
Costume.
Costume's good. Yeah, set direction. Craft services. Big shout out to Return of the King. Craft services. Y'all cleaned up the Oscars. Yeah.
I think they should have a category at the Oscars for best background because there are some really good background artists out there that just don't get recognized.
Good facts. Travis says, "I want an all the right moves sequel. Tom Cruise in his 60s." Playing football for real. Actually fun. Dude, because he's fast. That might not be bad.
You'd have Tom Cruise versus Tom Brady in a football game.
I know who I'm taking on that. I mean, now is Brady throwing a Cruise in the slot? Because that might
work. That's it. Because I mean, he's the same height as Welsh Swecker, so he'll get it.
Julian Edelman, he hits all them slot guys. I would take sequels to Risky Business. I think that'd be hilarious to see.
This time he's the parent.
He failed. Now he's but now he's failed, and now he's the parent, and he's got like a young son or a daughter that's having like a brothel in their house in 2020. Yeah. Dude, they're doing OnlyFans Bob House.
Yeah, dude, Wes Welker. Yeah,
right there. That was his first receiver. Julian Edelman's his best friend. That's his guy.
He lives in his pool house.
Well, I mean, with his fine ass. No, anyway, Julian Edelman does all right for himself. Risky Business is one, and what was the other one I was thinking?
All the Right Moves.
No. Was that what's the bartender? Cocktails.
Cocktails. That one definitely needs a sequel.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Dude, we already got the Top Gun sequel. I mean, I'd take a Legend sequel if we want to get back on our track. I could. You know what though? I don't want to mess with Legend. No. I messed with Willow, and look what happened. I'm still not over that show. I know Legend's not great. We reviewed Legend, didn't we? Do we have a one-up review?
Yeah, we did do when we did our fantasy month 2 years ago.
That's right. We did. We talked at length about it
before we started the cast.
It was fantastic as a film, and Darkness is one of the best movie monsters ever.
Yeah, played by the great Tim Curry.
Awesome, right? Dude, imagine sitting in a chair for 47 hours so they could put all that crap on you for you to basically just stand still.
Yeah.
Because the shit on your head weighs 60 pounds, right? So you
can't do it. It was all practical effects back then.
Right. That prosthetic weighed like 67 pounds. I kid you not. But I couldn't do a sequel to that. But I'd do Risky Business and Cocktails. Days of Thunder? We're already getting that this month. We're getting that this month, though.
We're getting a sequel to Days of Thunder?
No, the F1 movie.
Oh, but that's different. That's F1 racing compared to NASCAR racing.
Dude, it's cars going fast and turning left. What's fucking...
Actually, you turn different directions in
Dude,
F1.
I know. That's a principality. It's a principality. Like
well, one's about really, really fast cars in international circuit, where the other one is just pretty much American that was built off of bootleggers who thought they had the fastest car.
And I wonder why one's more appealing than the other. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah, I missed that. It was Legend, great film, better score. You do definitely. I'd love the score. Well, that's what I'm saying. For a weak story, and that's a Ridley Scott film, right? Is that a Ridley? Was that an early Ridley Scott, if I remember right?
I'd have to go back and check. I don't know off the top of my head.
I think it is. It's not.
We have Oracle back. We can get Oracle.
Right. Who directed Legend? I thought it was early Ridley Scott for some reason. Yeah, the story's weak, but it hits so many different archetypes of fantasy that. Boom! The wolf was on fire today with getting shit right. Deep cut. Did you know it? I thought you were about to say Michael Scott. The Michael Scott version, Threat Level Midnight Legend.
I should have burnt this to the ground years ago.
Oh, dude, I could do Threat Level Legend. That would be fucking awesome. I'd have to get
Threat Level Midnight.
Threat Level. It's right there. Threat Level Darkness. There we go.
No, but we still need to do your first watch of Lady Hawk.
I did, and that
Legend with Matthew Broderick.
Right. We need to. Yeah, might have to go put that list back together. I don't know if that's not going to make our summer movie list, because we're already working on that, because that's what's going to take the place for our since we're not watching any shows until Ironheart decides to crap its way onto Disney Plus,
which I think is next month. I think it's the 18th of next month.
Is it July? Is it? Yeah. Wait, is it July? I thought it was the end of June.
I thought it was July.
Let's get the Oracle on that one. Dude, I'm all about Tom Cruise right now, because that's the guy that when things started going sideways culturally in movies, this dude was bringing out Top Gun Maverick that opened with like just simply thanking me for showing up and paying money to see it. And I know that sounds cliche and cheese and everything else. So I like that. I eat that shit up, dude. I don't care what that guy thinks of me in real life. I don't care if he thinks I'm a knuckle dragging MAGA red hat guy. I don't give a shit. Be polite to my face, please. Yeah. Right? And then make a movie where you don't get yourself embarrassed for being what you are. Yeah. As over the top as Maverick was. Yeah. Loved it. And all the boomers in there loved it too. The real boomers.
Yeah. Oracle pulled up. It was June 24th is when Ironheart comes out.
I wish we could super cut in that Super Troopers gif, Mother of God, because I just would have said it right now. Mother of God.
Well, I mean, Maverick, all it was Star Wars.
Yeah. Death Star run.
Yep, Death Star run. That's all it was. Them training for the Death Star run.
But it was Luke training new Rebel pilots who didn't outshine him.
Yeah.
That's why it worked. He needed
the flying was sick in that movie.
I loved it. Now, dude, we're going to talk about Ultra Cheese Fest, right? If I was going to groan at all while watching Maverick, it's when they're making the escape on foot and they happen to come across a fully fueled, fully loaded F-14 Tomcat in a random hangar with the fucking keys in the ignition.
Yeah. Well, there are no keys. It's just push button.
Dude, it was a joke. It was still fully loaded and fueled, though.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, if some video game shit's going to go down, it's okay. This movie's earned it because I like it.
Well, at least it wasn't armed.
It wasn't fully loaded. Oh no, that's right. It was just fully fueled.
Yeah,
no armament. It's fully fueled.
Because remember, he was trying to like talk their way out of it because he couldn't fight them.
You know what? The whole ending of the movie would have been 15 minutes shorter had it been fully loaded. Because I'm guessing they didn't want house with it. It was probably again they worked against power creep, which worked. You know what I mean?
The Su-36 would have just ate that thing for breakfast.
From what, 500 miles out? 1,000?
Yeah, not including that they wouldn't be able to see it because it is a stealth fighter. It goes hand in hand with our new F-35 Lightning.
We're not allowed to talk about that. We are under NDA to talk about the F-35.
F-35, everyone has a 35 now. Everyone buys it.
Not the new version. Shh. Stop talking. Anyway, no, Maverick was dope, and I'm glad he's got that same intro to Mission Impossible. And he had one to last year's Final Reckoning movie tour. He's like, hey, thanks for coming out. You know, we put all this for you. I'm 70 doing my own stunts and shit. Then I watched the behind the scenes of that, the one from the last Mission Impossible where he rides the bike off the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
So the behind the scenes, there's a camera over the shoulders of his crew watching him do it, and you can see them clutch up as he's riding towards the ramp and shit. He goes off the side and pulls the chute, and this one dude on the crew, this black dude on the crew, turns around. He's just like, I can't fucking believe he did that. Awesome. Imagine having cojones like that when you're 137 years old.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Fucking nuts.
And he does it all for us.
He does. I'm bringing paper up because I was blinking and I couldn't see. Now, the Frankenstein movie is... Frankenstein, whatever. Call it whatever I want. Is that's a Del Toro movie? And it's not Dark Universe, Universal shit, right? Like, it's not supposed to be a relaunch of that nonsense.
Of his Wolfman movie?
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't even know there was a Frankenstein movie coming out.
It's in production, and I don't think it's soon. I mean, maybe Pape has some info there. I think that's the one you're talking about. Correct. Thank you. It looks slightly modernized. Like, I don't think they're going full period piece from like the 1800s or whenever. It's like, it's not supposed to be a time specific thing. I'm down for anything Del Toro. The imagery alone would be crazy. You know. Oh, we've got a trailer request. He's calling for it. He's calling for it. If they have one, I'll watch. We can watch that right now. I'm good. I haven't seen. I saw the one still picture of like the monster up on the electrifying rack, and I was like, oh, that looks pseudo modern. I caught it at a glimpse. It was rolling through our Facebook ads. Dooms, but we take a peek at that.
And another generation have to learn that Victor Frankenstein's the actual monster, not the monster.
Wait. Right. Until the monster snaps that little girl's neck and throws her in the pond. Then it's kind of.
But I mean, technically, the monster wouldn't exist without the monster of Victor Frankenstein.
Yeah, but dude,
and the monster's name is not Frankenstein.
Right. It's just
the monster.
Frankenstein's monster, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he did throw that little girl in the pond, and she did drown.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't catch the reference when I said Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yeah, Young Frankenstein.
Dude,
Mel
never
Brooks.
seen it. Never seen it. Know what it is. Well, we stop you right there before your heart gives out. And you're gonna go take extra heart medicine. Yeah, I need that. Oracle got the nitro. The king's down again. No. It's just one of those things. If like my dad worked nights, so I didn't get to see a lot of that kind of crap on on Saturdays when like dads were showing their kids this kind of stuff.
Igor.
Later. Igor. Abby Normal Brain.
Yeah.
Abby Normal Brain.
Abby Normal Brain.
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm only half not with it.
Putting on the Ritz.
Right. Yeah, we all know Mel Brooks is a genius. He's a national treasure. We all know that. Where's Spaceballs 2? And no, I don't want anything that has Josh Gad involved. I don't need that. I need
Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Soich. If you're going to say it, say it right.
Yeah.
Soich.
Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
Spaceballs and Lunchbox. We got that trailer rolling here, or can we squeeze in a topic? What are we doing? I'm amped. I'm ready to.
I don't think, because if we do it, we're probably going to have to pull up a screen, and we know that it doesn't produce sound. Except for the person sharing the scenes. Yes.
Yeah, that was a problem last time. But it hasn't been.
But I think the Oracle might be working on it. She will give me a thumbs up or thumbs down if she can get it up.
I do. You know what? And if we watch it not live, we could do a little 5-minute thingy at some point this week and throw it up.
Do a little Stinger video.
We could. Dude, hit me with another short range topic here. Hold up. I want to pick one of these here. We'll wrap up with we did that. Do you want do King of the Hill? Because I got a little something planned for King of the Hill.
The King of the Hill revival show.
Yeah.
The Hills are coming back to Arlene.
I'll tell you what. You know what I mean? Dude, I'm down for more King of the Hill, man. I think that every time one of these cartoons in particular comes back, I think they do okay. I mean, Futurama came back twice, I think, and has done okay, and I think is still in a run on Hulu. It's probably not as great as when it first came out under Matt Groening, who did or Groening, whatever you say it, who did The Simpsons. There's a lot of good sci-fi stuff on Futurama. You know, King of the Hill has a lot of good slice of life, moral lessons, taking a look at situations from multiple sides of the equation. Everybody learns a little lesson. Everybody's made to look a fool at one point or another. So hopefully, they stick to that kind of flavor. But there's a bunch of other animated shows do seem to come back okay. I had a list pulled up earlier. Hold on, let me. I'm gonna switch over here. Give me 2 seconds. Let me pull that list up here because we also have the villains list. We can run with that another time. Shows like Samurai Jack and Animaniacs come out in early 90s, early 2000s. They come back in 2017, 2020. Those have viewers. Young Justice came out 10 years apart. Beavis and Butthead. That was the other one from the list that got me.
Yeah, that came back for a short run.
Twice. Came back twice, 2011 and 2022. Family Guy, famously, out for a while.
It got out because they were saying it wasn't going to make money. He moved networks, proving that it does make money, and now it's been on forever.
Right, and it's declining quality as it's gone, like everything animated does. But it's the same thing with Family Guy. Shows like American Dad have been out forever, dropped, and then they get new life when they get into syndication and get picked back up. One of your favorite shows, Archer, came out in 2009.
I didn't really actually like Archer. I liked a certain jokes in Archer.
I thought you liked Archer. I thought you were one of those guys who was telling me to watch Archer all the time.
No.
Oh, my bad. Must have been somebody else. Oh, no, you tell me to watch Burn Notice all the time.
That one was fun. That was a fun show. And Psych, you never watched. You never watched any of those USA shows.
I did. I did, and which is weird because it's like not like that channel didn't exist up here.
Yeah.
But I think that something like King of the Hill could be funny. Having been away for a while, it comes back now, so everybody's aged up. Bobby's in his 30s or something like that. You can really see how the world is different. Venture Bros is another great example. Shows that have come and gone and come back.
It depends on how they're doing it. 'Cause I don't remember how King of the Hill ended, but I do know that they moved out of town.
Did they?
Yeah, they moved out of town. They moved to the city. I think they even Hank went to Saudi Arabia to be part of his natural gas company. Need him there to get natural gas in Saudi Arabia and have it shipped back. And now they're moving back.
City?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, dude! Now I got to go find this.
Because
nonsense.
in the article I read about it after you sent the topics out is that the whole premise that someone new is living in Hank's house and he's part of the group now.
Oh, so when are Hank and Haggy? So what you're saying is this isn't going to be like that 90s show. It's not going to be focused around Kitty and Red now that they're even older and watching a new group of dumbasses. Like this is literally they've built a new character that's going to be the guy standing in the alley drinking beer.
Yep, and then Hank and them moved back, and he can't get his house back. And he's trying to fit back in.
That could make for a great pilot, especially if the house is on the other side of the street, and Hank's standing on the other side of the street with a can of beer, with his can of Alamo. He's looking at his buddies. That could be weird. I'm definitely in for that, dude. Speaking of King of the Hill, though, you heard this dude got shot. Right?
Yeah,
the voice actor for the second voice actor for John Redcorn got shot in a neighborhood dispute or some weird.
Yeah, He was also in a few different shows, and then a voice actor for
Community, I think. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I didn't know John Redcorn had 2 actors. I mean, maybe that's how much of the show I missed. Talking about missing how it wrapped up. I just remember, OG John Redcorn probably.
Yeah,
but I think that's King of the Hill has always been an underrated favorite of mine. I like that it's kind of a less. In a way, it's a less crude version of Married with Children. I know that's a wild take, right?
Yeah.
The main character gets to be made to look a fool when he clings to old ways, certain social conventions. He's not as progressive as maybe he could be, but he's also allowed to be right a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think that balance is something that's missing in other shows where they just totally boobify the dads on a show.
Yeah, that's the whole thing for the longest time, especially sitcoms. Is dads were made to be idiots. Right. The moms came in to save it, or the kids knew better than both the parents.
Right, which is wildly stupid. I can get behind the convention of, happy wife, happy life. The dad does some stupid shit and then mom bails him out. But Peggy does stupid shit all the time on King of the Hill. She's so far up her own butt thinking she's the smartest person in the room that there's loads of times she's humbled before other people and has to kind of climb down out of her own butt, like I said. And Hank definitely gets made a fool of with the narrow uredi and the no butt having. But that stuff's funny because everybody gets the shots taken at him, at various points on the show. To see, they had to recast a bunch of voice roles. So obviously, was it Brittany Murphy? That was the voice of Luann. She died a long time ago. Tom Petty obviously passed. That was the voice of her boyfriend Lucky.
Yeah.
I heard the voice actor that played Dale passed maybe recently, or maybe after filming was done. I'm not sure. I saw a picture somebody done up with the three of them welcoming the John Redcorn character to heaven. It was one of those kind of illustrations.
Oh, okay.
It was nice. But Dale was on it, so I was like, oh, I didn't know he passed. Yes, wait till your father comes before you. No, definitely not.
No, in real life.
In real life, no.
We're talking about sitcoms.
Yes. No. 100% knew what that sounded like.
Like they had some that were good, but then as it progressed later and later into the 90s, into the 2000s, dads were the buffoons of the family, always the buffoons of the family. There was a couple that got the dad right, but like so many of the shows, yeah, like you had good dads, like late 80s or all 80s. Early 90s and some into the late 90s, or some that bled over from the early 90s that were still around in the early 2000s.
There was hardly anything new that I could think.
Yeah, like you had your Philip Banks, you had your Carl Winslows, you had your Tim Taylors. Like you had good dads. Now Tim Taylor still did a lot of crazy stuff, but he was never belittled because of the crazy stuff he did.
No, and Jill played a counterbalance on the show where she was stuffy academic.
A counterbalance, not the smartest person in the room.
Which is how those casts work. And if you put all those shows under that kind of microscope, when you look at when Uncle Phil might have been being a little too repressive, Aunt Viv is the one that softened him up. It was like, and Kitty did that for Red on that 70s show famously. That's how that balance worked. The Winslow from Family Matters. Carl was a bit of a hothead, but oh shoot, what was the mom's name on that show? Yeah, that might have also been Vivian. I'm trying to picture it in his voice. But they each could be hotheads to each other, but also they were written in a way where they were allowed to be wrong and admit and apologize when they were wrong. You know.
Hey.
That's definitely before my time outside of the knowing what I'm looking at thing.
Some happy days.
Happy days, yeah. Hey. I'm
I'm
not trying to bump my desk though to get the computer to work because shit'll just start falling off the shelves over my shoulder. Yeah, but I'm down. I mean, we're not going to review King of the Hill or anything like that, but it'll definitely be something I'll throw on Hulu, like when it pops up on my title banner, and I'll be like, I'm gonna watch me some King of the Hill and see how they do it. Unless they start breaking out the weirdo modern day political nonsense. Like I'm good with that. I don't need that.
From what I'm hearing, it could be a counterbalance where it's more on the conservative side of progression.
And again, and I'm for that because that kind of aligns with our particular politics. But I don't need a far right animated.
No, we definitely don't need a far right one.
God, dude, you know how boring that would be? You know how relentlessly boring that would be? It would be terrible. But again, I'm looking for a balance that's slightly right of center, where it's okay to be about accountability. It's okay to be about personal freedom. It's okay to be about the government not telling you you need 7 permits to make a deck in your backyard. And that's some Hank Hill shit right there as well. Whoa. Like, no, I'm good. We don't need that. I will miss some, they got to get the Boomhauer guy. They got Boomhauer, right?
Yeah, Boomhauer's back.
Get the same guy? I need that. That's funny.
Yeah, it's everyone else is still the same except the new guy.
Yeah. I'm with that. And hopefully new guy's funny. Now see, new guy should be someone that grates on Hank's nerves more than Khan did store at first. And then they have to begrudgingly grow into like a decent neighbor relationship like he had with Khan. Dude, that'd be some funny shit if Hank had to buy the house on the other side of Khan. No, and they sandwiched his old house. That would be kind of funny. I could dig that. But I think he needs to be on that street. He needs to be maybe on the other side of the road. That better. Yeah, I'm up for that show. But dude, I think we've taken these guys over the hour.
We have. We've run long again.
I'm with that because we talked about Stranger Things for 45 minutes, and I'm always about that. We could do that again next week and talk about more Stranger Things. I'm okay with that too. For sure.
Definitely.
But why don't we'll thank Pape and Travis for being here. Guys, we appreciate you. Travis, welcome back, dude. We missed you. We were talking about you the last couple of weeks. We're hoping you were doing all right.
Thanks for everyone else who showed up and didn't comment. Please feel free to jump into the chat and leave us something.
Yeah, it sparks conversation. We're happy to go in directions as long as it stays within, like, I don't know, like casting distance of the rails. so we can keep it moving forward. We're good for that for sure. And King, a little programming note for these guys. I think we mentioned it before. I think our intention until Ironheart comes out is we're probably going to work on an episode of Best of, Worst of. I think we were talking about doing Next Generation. That might have been the next show on the list.
We had a couple on there. We were trying to do the sci-fi shows.
Oh, yes.
Because we did do Warehouse 13 before we went on the break because our April and May got loaded with shows and we just didn't have enough time to record everything and get it edited and put it out there.
We were pretty smoked, right?
Yeah.
So you want to do Eureka then?
Yeah, Eureka was supposed to be Nets, and then we were going to do Haven, and then we're going to go to TNG, and then we had a couple other ones.
So we'll have to cram in some more because I definitely want to do Lost Boys this summer for sure.
Yeah, and then we were going to do the new one with the Retro Watch, where we're going to watch retro movies, starting with the Lost Boys. I would like to get some Wolf first take ones too, so like his first time watching. That would be fun.
Although when I did that with Ready Player One, all you did was complain for 15 minutes. Yeah, exactly. All right, boys. Why don't we get out of here and let King Z decompress? King Z, profound goodbye to our friends in the chat. We'll see you boys next Wednesday, though.
Well, see ya.